Welcome to Insightful Player TV. My name is Chrissy Carew, and I'm your host. I'm a personal business coach, and I'm also the founder of Insightful Player. Insightful Player is a bold movement of hope where we feature inspiring stories about NFL great role models who really care about lifting you. And they have great stories. They're really dedicated to getting out there, empowering others, and you're going to have a really special treat tonight. We have Daniel Wilcox. He was one of my very first Insightful Players, and he's an all-around great guy. He played with the Jets and the Buccaneers and ended his playing with the Ravens, and that's when I met him, and he is amazing. He grew up in Atlanta, and he's happily married to his beautiful wife Shauna. He had two beautiful boys, and when in Atlanta he was surrounded by a lot of violence and drugs, and he even thought that he wouldn't make it till he was 21 years old. But he had this amazing mother, Carol, who was very strong and put her heart and soul into raising Daniel and his sister, and that rubbed off on Daniel, and he puts his heart and soul into everything he does as well. You're going to really, really enjoy him. He's an exceptional role model and a really, really good guy. And today he owns his own construction and remodeling company, and he's a very successful entrepreneur. So, Daniel, can you hear me? Welcome.
Of course I can hear you. You're yelling in my ear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You can always turn down the volume if that will help.
All right, I'll turn it down.
It's so good to have you here. Thank you for coming. I know how busy you are with your business.
It's good.
Tell us about your business.
Well, I started a company. It's called Mr. 83 Degrees Renovation and Designs. When I played ball in Baltimore, my number was 83. And so I took a spin off of that, and I've created my own team. My whole business is based around football. Everything I've learned when I played football, I kind of take it into the real world, into my remodeling and renovation company, design company, and I put together a team of guys, of great guys. I kind of look at them like they're an all-star team of great designers and great renovation specialists, from carpenters, electricians, to plumbers, to roofers, landscapers. We do it all. Pretty much anything home or commercial, that you need, you can call my company for. We do custom furniture, custom desks, chairs, tables, custom kitchen, cabinetry, any kind of cabinetry, wall units, built-ins. We do all that kind of stuff. So it's fairly exciting. And I handle the whole thing like a team. There's no real boss. It's only like a coaching staff, and then it's players underneath that. So that's how I look at my organization. I'm not the boss. I'm just you can kind of consider me as being a coach. I'm just one of the coaches, and I just kind of go through everything. Or if not a coach, maybe the team captain. And we just kind of run it like that. And it's kind of cool. It's fun. We get along. We have a great time. And we actually thinking about, we had a couple of reality shows reach out to us. So we've been actually thinking about trying to get this thing on television.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have a website?
Yes, it's Mr83degrees.com. And that's degrees with a Z. That's MR83DEGREEZ.com. And it's actually under construction right now. So if you go on, some of the things you click on aren't up and running yet. But the website is beautiful, man. They're doing a great job on it. And hopefully they'll be finished with it by the end of next week.
Wow, that's incredible. And you might get a reality show.
I'm looking for a reality show. I think that'll be kind of cool. I think that'll be something new, something kind of fun to play around with. Me and my wife got married. We got married on reality TV, and we had a good time doing it. We get married at Raven Stadium on the 50-yard line, and we did it, in front of millions of people, not just our families, but we did it in front of millions of people, and we got such a huge review, from doing that, and we really enjoyed it. We had fun, so I don't mind us being on television.
That's great. No, I think you belong on stage, Daniel. I think you have that charisma and, desire to entertain and touch people. So it makes sense, that whole reality thing. And that was really amazing how you and your wife did your wedding. at Ravens Stadium, whatever, what do they call their stadium? I forget what the name for the Ravens Stadium.
It's called M&T Bank Stadium.
Oh wow, yeah, I saw some of those pictures. They're incredible. They really are. So what did you take from the NFL that you're bringing? I mean, you have all this.
Absolutely. I definitely, so the way I put my guys, and the way we try to
With yourself, I found that very inspiring.
I mean, in this world, I think the people that are successful in this world, first and foremost, I think they go out and they challenge themselves each and every day. And in order to get better every day, you have to try to have a better day than you did the day before. So you challenge yourself in learning, and you challenge yourself in performance, and you challenge yourself in every attribute of your life. Yesterday I might have brushed my hair with 80 strokes. Tomorrow I want to brush my hair with 82 strokes. So I mean, it's just one thing that you want to do. You want to go out and you want to outperform yourself, just like you outperform the other competitors or the other people that are going up against you. In football, every single day, if you was going to stay on an NFL team, you had to outperform the other guys at your position. So what you learned how to do was you tried to make yourself better every single day, so that when you came ready to play ball, you would be that much better than the other guy next to you or the other guy beside you. If we had to run sprints at the end of practice, you pushed as hard as you could to be the first person across the line in your group. That made you better. That extra effort will put you in the winning seat at the end of almost every single game. And we always try to give the extra effort in every single thing that we do. If somebody brings us in to remodel a kitchen, we're going to do all the little things that another contractor probably wouldn't think of, because we all know that it's the little things, the paying attention to detail, will get you through to the end.
Absolutely. That's a great motto that you have, Daniel. And you know what might be interesting is, can you take us through like a week what it's like in the NFL? Because I remember when I first met you, you were talking about how it was getting harder and harder to recover from Sundays, and no matter how you felt, you just had to push yourself and go back in the next day. What's it like? Can you give us a week in the NFL? Because we see you on TV getting all banged up, and we don't really know what it's like. What is it like?
Well, a week in NFL, usually, you start the week off with a game. Usually Sunday, I guess that's the end of the week for us, actually. A game is Sunday, so that's the end of the week for us. Monday morning, what you usually do, you come in and watch game film. So you get there early in the morning, you watch a game film, you go get treatment if you got beat up or banged up the night before the game, and then you try to get a lift in to try to get that soreness out, or lift and a run to try to get the soreness out from the game the day before. Tuesday is always our day off. So Tuesday, coming off a light day on Monday, Tuesday we usually still go in, even though it's our day off, and try to get a lift in, or if you banged up or injured, you got to go in and get treatment. That's seeing the physical therapists and the trainers, the chiropractors if need be, doing all the things that you have to do in order to try to get your body prepared for the next game on Sunday. And then on Wednesday is like our longest day. So Wednesday you probably get to work about 6 o'clock in the morning, get your lift in. after you lift, you try to grab a quick breakfast, and then you got meetings about 8 o'clock. And then once you finish your meetings at 8 o'clock, you go from team meeting to offense and defensive meetings, and then from offensive and defensive meetings, you go to position meetings, and then by that time, you're breaking for a walkthrough. And then once you finish that walkthrough, it's usually around lunchtime, and then you right back into meetings again for like another hour. And then during that hour, you're in meetings. It's usually position meeting. You're watching the game film from the past game, and or you're looking at film for the team that you're about to play this week. So normally on Wednesdays, we're looking at game film for the team that we're going to play this Sunday. The coaches already got their game plan in. We did all the game plan all morning, and now it's time for us to go out on the practice field. And by the time we get out on the practice field, everybody's kind of tired from the meetings. You know, you got to go get you a quick snack before you hit the field, and then you practice for 2 or 3 hours, and then you back in, and you're in a couple more meetings, and then you get a chance to go home. So our day pretty much is consisted of a bunch of meetings, workout, practice, walkthrough, and a bunch of more meetings. And then on Thursday, it's the exact same day as Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday are the longest days of the week for us. And then you turn around on Friday, and Friday is more of a three-quarter day. You know, we get off, instead of getting off work at 6 o'clock in the evening like we do on Wednesdays and Thursdays, on Friday we get off work around about 3 o'clock. You know, so it's kind of good to get off a little bit early. And then Saturday morning, Saturday is usually our travel day. If we got a away game, we're going to travel. If we got a home game, the schedule is pretty much the same. You know, we'll go in for a couple of meetings in the morning, some treatment, and then we'll also get in the hot tub or the cold tub and try to get our legs back. And then we'll also have a walkthrough. And the walkthroughs in the NFL, unlike what you think, is not like any other walkthrough you've ever seen. Walkthroughs are full speed. So even though you're in walkthrough, you're still running pretty fast. Once you're done with that walkthrough, we usually break and we get a chance to go home early around about 12 o'clock, 12:30 on Saturdays. And then if it's a travel day, we got to be right back over at the facilities by 2 o'clock usually. Then we try to rush to the airport. Then we go into the next trip. And if it's a game and it's a home game, then we get off around 12:30. Then we get to go home and be with our families the entire afternoon until usually around between 6 and 7 o'clock. You have to report to the hotel, you know, downtown, wherever the stadium is. Usually try to stay in the hotel with the entire team the night before a game, whether it's a away game or a home game. And then you have meetings that night as well in the hotel room, where we usually get one of those ballrooms that most people go to. They had to dance and stuff. We'll fill it up with chairs. The entire team will go in there and they'll have film set up. They'll have the big projection screen set up for us so we can watch film on the team we're going to play. And we'll go through all the teams. We'll go through special teams. We'll go through punt, kickoff return, punt return, field goal block. We'll line up in a position, make sure everybody knows where they're supposed to go, and all that kind of things. And then we'll also go over every aspect of the game from offense to defense to special teams. And then you turn around on Sunday, you wake up in the hotel, and it's game day. And if it's a 1 o'clock game, your day goes really fast. If you're playing an 8 o'clock game, it's a prime time game on Sunday, it's a long day for you. You know, you're in a hotel pretty much all day, and you try to find stuff to make your time go by even faster. It's an 8 o'clock game, you're going to have some meetings on Sunday morning, and then the rest of the time, you're pretty much going to spend in your hotel room watching movies or watching film on the game that you're going to play that night. And then, you know, of course, you know what games is, like, you know, it's hectic. You know, it's time to play ball. That's about it.
Wow. That's exhausting. Just hearing about it sounds exhausting. I can't imagine living it. That's incredible.
I know, it sounds boring as hell.
Oh no, it just sounds like it takes a lot of discipline, because I do remember that. Now, because and also what you also told me is that after your practices, when you're back with your team at home all week long, you have to go home and study playbook, and you have to watch more film at home. So it's like ongoing. It's like you don't have much time for yourself at all during the football season. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Absolutely right. What I normally tell kids is when I go meet with kids and speak in front of kids, I always tell them they need to practice everything they can right now in school, because all school is preparing them for the real world. You know, even in the NFL, we still got homework. We still have stuff we have to take home with us every day, and we have to prepare ourselves for the next day no matter what. And every job across America is pretty much the same way. You're going to take home some homework. So all school is basically preparing you for the real world, and it's rough. I mean, the NFL is a tough job. It's a lot tougher than most people think, you know. And you look at it as being very high paid, you know. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the money is justified for the type of hours that we work on a pretty much a day-to-day basis, and for the amount of time and concentration you have to put into it, and the punishments you're going to put your bodies through. You know, that's life-altering, and, you know, it's going to last probably forever. A lot of that stuff will last you forever.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of punishment to your bodies, and no ifs, ands, or buts. And, I was talking about that last week on the show, that, you know, every industry, you know, the ones that are the most talented get paid the most. And you know, in addition to what you put your body through, I think the players like yourself, for sure, because you've done that, give a lot to the community and to children in particular, deserve to have that money, you know, because you take advantage of that platform and really make a difference. So I'm really happy about that, and the rest of us are too, because we need more of that. So that's a good message for kids. You gotta suck it up, and you gotta, you know, push through your resistance for school, because it's gonna be so valuable for you later on as an adult, and help you build that resilience that you have. You have so much resilience. You have so much perseverance. It's amazing. And, you know, and I'd like to go back to, because I'm sure a lot of the viewers are wondering, what made you think that you would be dead by 21 when you were a kid? I mean, that's pretty dramatic for a little kid to think that. Can you tell that story?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Decatur, Georgia. It's a small city inside of Atlanta. If you know about Atlanta, you pretty much know about Decatur. Decatur back in the day, you know, it had its rough spots. And the neighborhood that we stayed in, you know, it was pretty much considered the suburbs, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the kind of suburbs you would probably think it is. You know, my mom worked hard to make sure that we stayed out of the projects and make sure that we went in a low-income situation. You know, so when I say that, it's because I've seen a lot. You know, I've heard a lot. I've been around a lot. You know, as a child, you know, growing up, you know, at one point, you know, you didn't know if it was going to be one of your classmates that was going to kill you, or if it was going to be somebody on the street selling drugs that was going to kill you, or if it was going to be a cop. You know, because that's just the kind of stuff that you dealt with, you know, growing up as a young black individual here in Decatur, Georgia. You know, you would think most of the time, really cops are here to protect you and serve and to make sure that you're taken care of. But my experiences with with law enforcement at an early age was never a good situation. You know, it always made me nervous. It always put me in it always put them in a bad light to me. Like all I saw from, you know, cops was negativity towards us. And I think it was because, you know, they was always on their toes or always on their heels, just for the fact that most, you know, black kids, I guess in my area, was always getting into trouble all the time. You know, we was never doing the right thing. You never know if one of us had a gun, you know, so the cops always treated us like we had a gun all the time. You know, every time they pulled up or spoke to us, or, you know, they spoke to us in a different voice. You know, they treated us differently than they would treat most people. And, you know, it was blatant. You would see the difference, you know, and then you know, I grew up around a lot of my friends and stuff. They sold dope, they sold drugs and stuff like that, and they was considered friends. They was classmates. You know, they was people that I'd been around my entire life. You know, the thing that I guess was a blessing for me, and what you see in a lot of situations, a lot of bad situations, there's always that one kid. No matter how bad the situation is, no matter how bad the environment is he's going to make it out of that situation. There's always that one kid. And I'm not saying I was that one kid, but I was definitely one of those children. And they always say that it takes a village to raise a family. The people that was around me, I think, cared about me. Even the ones that were selling drugs and the ones that was doing that stuff, they did stuff to make sure that I stayed away from doing those type things. You know, so as far as I'm concerned, you know, if you're in the dark, if you go to like a hood or I guess a ghetto or any bad area of any place that you could possibly go, any state, any city, it doesn't matter, any part of the world, and if it's dark, it's one of the most scariest places you could possibly be. But it's that one kid in there, for some reason, when he walks down the street, he lights up that whole street. And I think it's a lot of kids like that all over the world, you know, that get an opportunity to come out of a bad situation, no matter what. You know, I just think I happened to be one of those children that had that light shine on him, that God had a plan for me, and He wanted something different for myself, for my family, and I had to be a part of that in some sort of way. So He kept the negativity away from me, although I was surrounded by it in every way. So I mean, growing up as a young kid, when you see some of your friends, getting killed, and then you look back at your high school, your senior yearbook, and then you can go through it and look at your class photo, and then you can pull out about 5 to 10 to 15 to 25 people that are no longer living. And some of this stuff happened right after high school. When you can sit back and look at that kind of stuff, it's kind of devastating, and then it leaves an impact on you, so much that it makes you think sometimes that maybe life is really, really, really short, and we should value the life that we have, and we should not take a second of it for granted because of the simple fact that you never know when you could be here today and gone tomorrow.
Well, I can't imagine growing up like that, Daniel. I think a lot of us are oblivious to that, and I appreciate you waking us up, to realize what a problem that is. And I do remember you telling me those stories, and I also think it's wonderful you had such a strong mom and your beautiful late aunt that really made a huge difference, that really helped keep you on the straight and narrow. And the other thing you talk about was your passion. You had this commitment and this passion, and yours happened to be sports, right? And so the kids that were getting into the trouble, as you just mentioned a moment ago, started respecting you and pushed you away from them so you wouldn't get involved with them. Is that right? Do I remember that right? Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That
that's pretty much it, Coach. I mean, when I guess you can see the ones that are gifted, and I think I've always had a gift in playing sports. My mom got me started at an early age, around 5 or 6 years old, and once I stepped foot on a baseball field, a football field, a basketball court, you can tell I was a natural athlete, and the guys around me, I guess I always kind of stuck out. I also had 2 or 3 cousins that grew up with me, and we all was very, very athletic. Our entire family was. So we was the ones that I guess would be the most popular kids in school, or the ones that would be, on every team, playing football and basketball and baseball, and we would all be starters. And we would be the ones the coaches would look up to as far as, if we need a touchdown right now, it got to go to Wilcox, or it got to go to McCoy, or if you need a game-winning shot at the end of a basketball game, it was gonna pass through my family in some sort of way, me or one of my cousins. If you needed a big play in baseball, if you went to the Decatur High School when we came through there, you expected it to come through my family. You expected that big play to come from somebody in my family. So
wow.
I guess the guys around us, they appreciated us bringing notoriety to their hood, or to their situation, or to their environment, because we brought a positive light, to a bad situation, and I think that made them feel good in a way, because they could relate to us, because we grew up together, we knew each other very well, we didn't call each other friends, we called each other family members, brothers, sisters, or whatever it may be, and so it kind of puts you in an environment, where the people that grew up in your same neighborhood will protect you no matter where you were. If I went over on the other side of the tracks, the people on the other side of the tracks might want to jump on me or might want to fight me, but anybody from my side of the tracks or from my neighborhood would never allow that kind of stuff to happen. If somebody tried to jump on me, it was going to be a battle royal, basically. It was going to be a bunch of guys from where I came up from and a bunch of guys from where they're from. We just wouldn't allow anybody to take advantage of us in a negative light. And, we just really looked after one another. So they knew what they was doing was wrong, and they felt like that was something that they had to do to survive. They felt like I didn't need that, so they kept me away from that kind of stuff. A lot of times I never even saw the stuff, so, it was a blessing in its own right.
That's a tremendous blessing, Daniel, and it's wonderful that you were born with that beautiful athletic gift to really help keep you with your mother. So, and so some kids don't have that gift, but there are other things they can get involved with that could really make as much of a difference, don't you think?
absolutely. I mean, it's a million things out here for children to get involved in. And the problem is we just don't know about the stuff. As a parent, now me being a parent of two boys myself, I find it hard sometimes. I know I want to get my kids involved in things. I just don't know how to go about doing it sometimes. So it's important to do the research as a parent to try to get your kids involved in things. Idle time is the downfall to most of these children. Even the ones that are selling drugs and the ones that are doing, the bad stuff or robbing or breaking in cars, they have way too much idle time. As a parent, you have to find something to get your kids involved in to take up that free time you have.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like you were in perpetual motion all your life, and that's how you are today still. You're always on the go, right? So is that what prompted you?
I'm always working hard.
Yeah. You're always in the fast lane. And you're always contributing, and your foundation. Let's go there for a minute, because that's pretty incredible. Empowerment Minds. Now tell us the story of what brought you to that.
Well, there was a lot of kids I noticed like myself in the city of Baltimore. When I was in New York playing for the Jets, the same thing. When I was in Tampa Bay playing for the Bucks, the same thing. You kind of noticed, a kind of recurring thing, through my life. So I saw a lot of kids that were just like me, but didn't know what to do in order to move forward. And I always felt like if I can make it out of my situation, then you can make it out of yours. It don't have to just be one kid with that light on them. It could be 45, it could be 50 in every neighborhood. In order to be successful, you have to start training yourself, I think, at an earlier age, for greatness. You have to try to model some part of your life, around somebody else. Kobe Bryant is as good as he is because at an early age, he knew he loved basketball, and he knew he wanted to be like Michael Jordan, all the way down to sticking his tongue out when he dunked the ball. Kobe Bryant is the kind of guy that modeled his entire game around a great player like Michael Jordan. So when you watch Kobe, you think about Michael. That's why there are always those comparisons. So he never put a basketball down. Every opportunity he had, he was dribbling, he was shooting, he was trying to dunk, he was doing layup, he was doing everything he could to be perfect. So therefore you get guys like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, they come straight out of high school and are able to play at such a high level because they have dedicated themselves to something that they believed in and something that they cared about and something that they absolutely loved doing. And each and every last one of us have to find that niche in ourselves. And once we find that niche, then we can attack it the same way Kobe did, the same way LeBron did, the same way Michael Jordan, all the way down the line. Those guys have been doing this thing forever. The reason I was able to make it to the NFL, I started playing football at the age of 5 or 6 years old, and I never put the football down. Although I would play basketball, although I would play baseball, although I would run track, football was my heart. I love football so much. I dedicated more time to football than anything else in my life. So anytime you want to be great in anything that you really, really want the most and you care about and you love and you have passion about it, if you're willing to put forth the effort, you got an opportunity to be the best that you could possibly be at that situation or that sport or that job or that career. So it's important to put the time in and invest and believe in yourself. If you can't believe in yourself about something, you can't never get anybody else to believe in you either. So you have to believe in yourself more and foremost. More than anything. And you got to have passion about the things that you do the most. The reason why people think Ray Lewis is such a passionate guy is because every single time he speaks with passion. And every time he steps foot on the field, he plays with passion. So it makes you believe that he's this walking energy ball. So and when you meet Ray, if you ever sit down with Ray Lewis is probably one of the most calmest, coolest individuals, nicest, man you probably ever gonna meet. Big smile, big pretty white teeth, and he just sits down and he just have a regular conversation with you. And to me that's the kind of person that you really want to be. Anytime it's time to work, you want to make people believe that you are unbelievably passionate about the things that you do. You have to show the passion in everything you believe in. You have to be passionate about it. Right,
and the passion really helps the commitment too, because I know you've talked about that. It really helps you focus and get really committed and stretch in ways that you didn't think that you could. and it's a wonderful thing that you model for those children at your foundation. I want to go back to the foundation, but I also know it was a really big stretch for you when you went to visit the troops in Afghanistan. Do you want to talk about that for a moment? Because I know that was a real stretch for you. It's because of all the inner work that you did that you were able to do it.
You know, I guess the best thing about going to Afghanistan was to me was to be able to see the troops firsthand, to see how their living environments are, to experience what they experience from a day-to-day basis. You know, to see how they put their lives at danger every single day for each one of us. When I went over there, and I was very biased because all I heard was stuff from the news. So when I went over there at the time, you know, I'm hating George Bush. I don't understand why we at war. You know, the troops gotta hate them too, because this is like the most dumbest thing in the world. And when you get over there, you hear so many different sides of it. You know, it makes you respect every single angle of it. And you know, it's some troops that don't even care what we're going to work for. They're going to protect this company. That's why they got in the Army. That's what they're here to do. And then you got some over there that just as scared as anybody is over here. And they wish they wasn't there. And they wish they was never, you know, sent over there in the first place. They didn't join the Army to go to war with nobody. They don't want to kill anybody. The last thing they want to do is have their life in danger every single day. But they're still over there. And then you got a whole other kind of, you know, troops that's, you know, they're engineers, they're technicians, they're electricians, they're carpenters, you know, they're concrete workers, you know, they're blacktop guys. You know, it's so many different parts of the special forces or the Army or the Navy, Air Force, Marines that, you know, it just really blows your mind. You know, we're over there building streets in another country and giving them a better opportunity to live their lives a better way, you know, in a better situation. So at the end of the day, you get a chance to respect it, you know, but more than anything, I enjoy being around the company, you know, the company of being around the people that are working their butts off to try to save us and to save this country. So to me, it was a blessing, you know, to have an opportunity, first and foremost, to experience another country. You know, and second, to be in the same environment that our troops are in. You know, I got a lot of respect for the Army. You know, I went to a military college, you know, so I got a lot of respect for the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines. And I always felt like if I didn't play football, I would probably be some kind of special ops or black force type, Delta Force type guy myself, where I would probably be, you know, just swimming in deep oceans and coming out of water, just kind of, you know, doing all the special type stuff, or jumping out of helicopter or something. I don't know, but, you know, it was an exciting experience, you know, to me, to be in Afghanistan, to be in Doha, Qatar, to be in Bagram, to be all over, you know, Iraq and stuff like that, you know, with our troops, you know, and to get on Black Hawk helicopters and fly around and kind of see what they do from a day-to-day basis, all the way from the pilots, you know, all the way to the gunmen. You know, I was very impressed with our Army, with our special forces, and how we handle things.
Wow. That's incredible.
Exactly.
That you did that. That you did that. And that also reminds me of how one of your passions, Daniel, is helping kids expand their worlds, because when you were little, you just knew more about your neighborhood. You didn't travel as far, and you want to really help kids expand their vision of what's possible. And you doing that in your foundation. Can you share a little more about that? Because that's a huge passion of yours.
Absolutely. When I started the Empowerment Mind Foundation, I really wanted those kids to start thinking outside of the box, because there's so many different things in this world as we can do. You know, there's so many places that we can go. And me growing up inside of Decatur, I never really left out of the perimeter of Decatur, you know, as a high school kid. It wasn't until I started going to college and meeting all these different people from all over the world that I even thought I would meet somebody from another part of the country. And once I got to college, I started coming back home to visit my family. Now I'm all over Atlanta, I'm in Alpharetta, I'm in Marietta, you know, I'm in Monroe, I'm all over Georgia. You know, so I'm getting a chance to see so much of my own state, you know, from all the way from the top, the North Georgia, all the way to, you know, South Georgia, to East and West. And that means there's so much of Georgia that I never knew existed. I thought the entire state of Georgia was centered around Decatur, Georgia, or Atlanta, Georgia. I never really knew the difference. You know, and there's a lot of kids out there like that right now the same day. You know, they show you a map while you're in school, probably since you was in elementary or middle school. You got a map on your wall. And you see all these different parts of the world, but what it is, we don't know that we can reach all these different parts of the world. we actually believe that, you know, our state or our city is about as far as we're going to go. You know, so I mean, you could be attached to 4 or 5 other states on different sides of your actual state, and you never make it to any of those states. And there's some people living right here in Atlanta, Georgia, that never really left outside the state of Georgia. And I just feel like that's unfair because there's so much of this world out here that you can get a chance to go see and experience. And I think everywhere you go, every place you touch, every person you meet leaves some kind of impression on you or some kind of impact on you, so that it changes you in a sense. You know, it changes you and you start to learn who you are as a person. But you never get a chance to let yourself develop as a real human being if you never get a chance to experience anything. So that means you're limiting your mind and your body, your heart, your soul to one place. And I just don't think that's fair, you know, for any individual to do to themselves. I think you should travel. I think you should get out and see different parts of the country, different parts of the world, because it changes you so much, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. You know, it changes you in so many different ways. So I mean, the more you travel, I think the better off you are to actually develop who you are as a person. And a lot of these kids, I want them to be able to experience things, you know, inside of their city, outside of their city, inside of their state, outside of their state, inside of their country, and outside of their country as well. I don't want them to feel like they're limited to the state of Baltimore, to the state of New York, to the state of Georgia, to Alabama, you know, Mississippi, anywhere. Tennessee, I don't care. I think these kids deserve an opportunity to go. So I say let them go. Parents, you know, if you get a chance now to take your kids to a college campus, every opportunity you get, you should be trying to get them to a college campus.
Right, because that gives...
Can you answer that question?
Yeah, yes. Can you hear me now? Those are very good points.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. You're teasing. That's a very good point, because kids get to look at bigger possibilities for themselves, you know? If they have such a narrow world, they don't even know what's possible for them to have in their life. And I know that you've done a lot with children, and that's one of your key points. So I'm really glad you're out there, you know, really inspiring that and inspiring parents to get their children out of their neighborhoods and get them on these trips so they can see what else is possible. So anything else that we didn't cover that you really want to share tonight?
No, I feel like we talked about so much. I feel like you did an excellent job interviewing me. So, I mean, unless the people out there got anything they want to ask me, I think we might be done.
Okay, good, Daniel. That sounds good. Well, I am so happy. I don't see any questions here, but I'm so happy you came on. You have so many good points, and you're so much fun to have around. And we'll have you on again.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and visit his your website, right? empowermentminds.org, as well as your business, right? Mr80degrees.com. And can you spell that again for everybody?
Mr. 83
degrees. I mean, Mr. 83 degrees.
It's Mr. 80
degrees with a V.
Yeah, Mr83degrees.com. Yeah, it's 83degrees.com. It's MR83DEGREEZ like zebra.com.
Yep. Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to go check that out tonight. So thank you so much for coming.
Go there, check it out. You need it.
I will.
You need a kitchen
renovation.
I'll
send you an email. Oh, I would love to have my kitchen renovated. I will definitely call you. Fly you over here from Atlanta. All right, Daniel. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon. All right? You have a good night and kiss those babies good night.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right. You're the best.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So everybody, it was such a treat to have Daniel here, and he's such a good guy, and he has such a work ethic. It's so incredible. I'm so sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. And he's really amazing. And he just puts his heart and soul into everything. He just always that internal competition with himself, is just always pushing, and he keeps saying how empowering that is, and that's a message that he gets out there for children. And so I invite you to go look at his story on insightfulplayer.com, and that's the abbreviated version. And Insightful Player book will be out September 20th. It's on Amazon. Excuse me now, with the longer versions of the story. So because of my tickle in my throat, so I don't have to cough at you, I apologize. I'm going to sign off, and next week we'll have Damian Vaughn back, and he's going to talk a lot about the work he's done with kids and athletes, and he's a former player as well. Excuse me. So you all have a wonderful night, and definitely go look at Daniel's story. He has some really wonderful tips to share, and see how you can stretch yourself this week and use Daniel as your inspiration. So thank you, everybody. Good night.